countering drone and drone innovation are atop the agenda for Eurosatory, which is currently taking place in Paris. Now, one of the companies which has ventured into this domain is EOS, and to discuss how it's done so, we are now joined by Dr. Andreas Schwer, the CEO of EOS. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. So I would like to start off with a brief introduction of what does EOS actually do and what products does it offer currently?
Yeah. Electro Optic Systems is one of the world-leading anti-drone system company. We can offer turnkey, ready-to-use anti-drone systems. We can offer any kind of effector you wish to have in an anti-drone system, such as high-energy laser weapons or cannon-based air defense or interceptor killer drones. But we are also active in the domain of anti-satellite business. We can shoot satellites from ground with laser weapons, which makes us all in all very unique worldwide.
And what sort of interest are you seeing from countries which are most affected by the drone threats, for example, NATO's eastern flank?
So we can see huge interest because we have dedicated anti-drone solutions. We have solutions which are battle-proven. We have started to develop that 1 decade ago, and we are the only company having fielded in the Middle East more than 100 systems, which are all in the war active and which are battle-proven.
Are there any specific innovations which are needed or adaptations, for example, for the different environments in which these drones threats emerge? So from Ukraine to the Middle East, do they differ in any way?
Yes, the kind of attack mode is different, but that's driven by geography, that's driven by the availability of certain materials and equipment, whereas in the Middle East, due to the distance between the two opponent parties, obviously they're going for larger drones with a longer range. In Ukraine, the situation is pretty much dominated by short range, very small, very unsophisticated drones, but coming in at a much larger quantity. So we experience in Ukraine swarm attacks, which is not too much the situation in the Middle East.
And so how do you exactly, how do you, for example, adapt the technology specifically for the different scenarios? And so what sort of demand do you see primarily for either one of those types of drone threats?
We are offering fully integrated anti-drone systems. In those kind of systems, we can combine any kind of different effectors, and we tailor the kind of combination according to the actual mission needs. So it's a combination of missiles, rockets, of cannon-based air defense, of laser weapons, and other types of effector, depending on the threat scenarios. That's always customized to the actual drone threat, and we can also change this over time, depending on the changes in the field. And the changes in the field are happening very, very frequently. The Ukraine war has shown for the first time that the overall kind of threat scenario is changing and evolving every 3-4 weeks. This kind of innovation pattern we have never seen before in any kind of conflict.
And do you think that the European, not just yourselves, but do you think that European companies are able to adapt to the scale and the speed at which these adaptations are taking place?
In terms of speed, I'm skeptical. I mean, most European players are very large organizations, heavy organizations, and it takes more time to change the course of a tanker than for a small boat like our company. We are a highly agile company. We have very short decision-making processes. And we're using our own capital. We don't wait for the customer to tell us what to do. We forecast by our own means what will come in the future. And by that, we have done so far the right decisions. And we are more agile and more adaptive than anybody else.
And do you think that might change if the demand continues to increase?
Yes, it will change. I'm pretty sure that the kind of old defense economy will adopt to the new demands and become also more agile and more flexible. But it will take some time.
And so apart from flexibility, do you think there will be other specific characteristics going forward in terms of that will earmark the defense industries of the future?
Yes, I think that the future is asking for companies which are able to not always open and offer the golden edge solution coming in for horrendous prices. Nobody can afford that. The future will be dominated by companies being able to offer products which are made up of commercial components coming in at very low price tag, allowing the clients to field the systems not only for specific military purposes, but also to protect the homeland. I mean, in the future, we need to protect all critical infrastructure, any kind of commercial airport, power plants. And the multitude and the magnitude of this kind of task is not allowing customers to continue with high-end military solutions because the dollars are not available.
But how do you ensure that those things are in order at the same time whilst ensuring that fragmentation, for example, of the European defense industry, which is something that has happened repeatedly, and the problems with interoperability, for example, of these large-scale weapon systems and the potential clashes in demand between different countries do not happen at the same time?
I believe at the very end that governments need to find the right bridge between what they have fielded so far in terms of classical systems and the new kind of demand. We have to integrate what is in existence. And by that also we need to have a synergy between the old kind of traditional companies offering traditional systems and the newcomers to the market to be in a position to deploy what is really needed for the future. They cannot break up with the old world completely. So we need to have this kind of collaboration and the bridges in between the worlds.
And so how do you think that this collaboration between multilateral organizations, or what further support from multilateral corporations, such as the NATO alliance, for example, and governments should be in place to ensure that companies can grow effectively?
So it's a wish to have this kind of NATO-wide cooperation. It's already difficult those days to get a bilateral or trilateral program in place. It takes ages in terms of coordination between governments and then between industries. So it's a complicated task. Companies or governments still tend to go their own way. We have to make sure that we follow the same kind of standards, protocols in terms of software and interfaces to make sure that systems become more interoperable and can talk and talk with each other and can cooperate with each other. The likelihood of having pan-European programs at larger scale in order to have a better commercial baseline overall, I'm skeptical, because history has shown that Europe is not ready to agree on large-scale programs very easily. But yes, I wish that we would have a more kind of pan-European NATO-wide orchestrated approach, but I think it will take some time to get there.
And what do you think it would actually take for that to happen? Do you think it will be a question of legislation? Do you think it will be a question of injection of further amounts of money? Or do you think it will be another tragedy, for example, which once again opens our eyes to the fact that we have to work closer together?
I mean, the first big push came now with a recent US administration, which made it clear to Europe that they have to stand on their own feet, causing Europe to spend more budgets. And obviously some countries can afford, some others hardly can do that. That is fostering more collaboration and waking up some governments. But still, I think there's a long way to go to get those kind of Western European-wide programs up and running.
And finally, I would like to turn to the space domain, which is also something that you specialize in. So in terms of actual space, we know that these topics have been emerging with more and more countries talking about potentially sending or possessing military satellites. That is also the case in Poland to gain sovereignty. How exactly has the space domain changed in recent years? And what exactly will be the key threat that the industry has to address in the coming years?
It became quite obvious over the last few years that the future war will be decided in space. Whoever can dominate the space domain will win the war. So it's all about knocking out all the space assets of the hostile party to win the war. So you have first to kill the killer satellites, then you kill all communication means in space, you kill all the spy satellites, the intelligence satellites, and you knock out the navigation satellites, GLONASS or GPS. Whoever is first in doing that will have decided the war or the conflict in his own favor. That is undisputed meanwhile, and that was not the case in the recent past. This has also triggered by the US with a Golden Dome program, and the Europeans now are aware of that and want to invest to build up the same kind of capability, a capability to protect their own space assets and to be able to knock out, to neutralize the space assets of the opponent. That is coming very soon now.
And so do you think that will be the key capability that Europeans have to focus on with the collaboration of the industry in the years to come?
It's one of the key capabilities, and such program is obviously very demanding from the technology standpoint, but also demanding from the budgetary standpoint. So yes, you're right. This could be one of the trigger programs to really have a pan-European kind of effort starting up.
Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
And thank you for watching from Paris for TVP World, Zuzanna Jurek.